We play and call it work.
Hey there, Wargamers, Josh here to bring this week's Sit and Talk, the show, of course, where I sit and I talk. I have now become the one that's super bad at getting this done on time, so I apologize, but between the holidays and me being off sick for a week, yeah, you were forced to suffer at home without hearing my lovely voice. The other thing, get out of the way right now, is I still have a little tiny bit of a sniffle, and it's going to drive you nuts, probably. So, nothing I can do about it. It's there. It's going to happen. But you've been warned. So, if that's going to bother you a whole lot, then hey, you don't need to comment, but you can if you want. Now, next week is going to be Luca. So, make sure you leave your questions for him below. Summon him to the comment section. Luca. And he will answer whatever you want to know. But other than that, let's just kind of crack right into it. I say as I realize I don't have this open to where I need it to be open. Look at me go. I am so good at this. Now, we did have kind of light comments on Matthew's one from a couple weeks ago. So we did go to Facebook. So I don't know if this one's going to go like super long or not. But, I mean, we're padding it right now as I get all of my questions set up. Yeah, am I bad at Tyranids? Oh, Matthew. Of course you're not bad at Tyranids. Well, yeah, he's pretty good at Tyranids. Tyranids, he's entertaining, which, at the core of what we're trying to do, we're trying to be entertaining. So I guess it's how you define good. Am I good at Warhammer? I think I'm good at Warhammer. I'm good in the way that I need to be good at Warhammer. Yeah, okay, so let's just jump right into the first question on the website. So, we got Leonid Lopez. Watching MiniWarGaming for quite a while now. Saying your table layouts are impressive, stays short from how they look. Saying your table layouts are impressive, stays short from how they look. I would like to place a request. Could you please make a video or series on videos on how you set up a table layout? Definitely interested in 40k games. Maybe a video on how to lay out an AOS game. 30k bolt action, that's not a test. Leave this here as a possible idea. Honestly, after watching videos I watch at my table, I want to cry. It's one of those videos, like, it might be cool to do kind of a... Because we wanted to do more, like, short videos. And to do a short of just, like, how we're setting up tables. I don't think we'll do, like, a full-blown tutorial, this is how we do it. Because we all do it differently. And, like, depending on... It changes from day to day how we set it up. So, yeah, it's kind of variable on how that all happens. But, yeah, maybe we'll start doing some... Like, we'll do a short video now and again. And put that out just like, hey, I'm setting up a table, so I'm going to show you how we set up the table. CICA, Happy New Year, probably, Josh. Yes, it is. It's a little bit beyond that. What do you think about the new Tau Railgun and Crusade diplomacy rules? What do you think they need as a faction to be more popular within the community or used more by MiniWarGaming? Okay, so the Tau, I haven't kept up with since 4th edition. The Railgun, whatever, it's cool. It's not the end of the world. It's definitely something you have to pay attention to when you're playing, but I don't think it's going to, like, ruin the game. It's the end of the world. Like, people are freaking out. Haven't looked at their diplomacy rules whatsoever for Crusade. I don't know. All the Crusade rules I've seen so far have been interesting, but yeah, can't really speak to that. They're already popular within the community, so I don't think they need that. I think the only thing any faction needs to be popular within the community is to get semi-regular updates, which, you know, they're getting an update. To be used more by MiniWarGaming. That one, it's kind of like... I think it's just whoever finds them interesting. Like, I find them kind of boring nowadays. I think that the older renditions of them were much more interesting. I don't like the direction that they've went as much, but that's not the question, so I'm not going to get into that a whole lot. Yeah, pretty much the two people interested in Tau here are Steve, who goes back and forth between being interested, and Matthew. So it's just, if they're going to be used more here at MiniWarGaming, they have to be more interesting than the other factions those guys play. Or at least just as interesting, so they get put into the rotation more. We got G Griffey 87. At Josh, are you bad enough due to take 40 Frost Sabers to go Archeon in a single round of combat? Lure him up with a Stonehorn, outflank the Frost Sabers with 3 Espera Hunters, and then get +3... Excuse me, +3 charges. You unleash a torrent of frosty kitty cats at the Ever-Chosen. Okay. No, I'm not that guy. I would do it if we had 40 Frost Sabers, but, like, there was a while ago, Matthew really wanted to get that many Frost Sabers for the studio, if not more. And we all made fun of him. because it sounds awful. Like, it's such a gimmickless, and we're like, no, like, there's other miniatures we're going to use more often than, like, dozens and dozens of Frost Sabers. Like, stop. It'd be funny, like, if somebody came in and they're like, hey, by the way, I have 40 Frost Sabers. You want to use them and fight Archeon? Yeah, I would do it. I think it'd be hilarious, but I'm not going to own that personally, and I'm not going to push the company to put studio resources into making that list, even though it would be funny. Smiling Kira. Hi, Josh and guest. Unfortunately, not a guest. I would love to do it with one, but I got to figure out the process of that a little bit better. I'm at the point more and more like wanting to change the format of these, because I find there's interaction because I'm answering questions you folks have left, but like not the interaction. Like it's not the same. Which I personally, when I create content, I'm trying to create content in the way that I like it because I understand that better. And this format is not super up my alley. So that's where I've been trying to brainstorm and think of different ways that would make it more interesting to me, which might make it more interesting to folks that are fans of the content I produce. Can we get more time on the channel? It seems like ages since, yeah. I mean, they got a new book, so you're going to see at least a bit of them for a while. And then other than that, we once we can get guests back in on the regular, hopefully the Tau people start to show up. Why is it that many people in the 40k community seem to hate the Tau Empire? Do they really just hate Tau, or is it just a meme to hate on the Tau? I think it's both nowadays. So it stems from two different places as far as I know. Now, the fans of every different faction tend to whine. There's always whiny people, but for whatever reason, the Tau people sometimes stand out a little bit more as complainers. I don't know if that's true, but it just feels true sometimes. And then the other thing is, I remember when they were introduced back in, I want to say it was the end of 3rd edition, a lot of complaints about them not fitting the aesthetic of 40k, and I think, some of the old grumbly people still kind of carry that with them. If you could add to the Tau Empire to make people like them, what would it be? Oh, I don't know. Like, the Tau Empire is good at being like a 40k faction that doesn't feel super like 40k grimdark like the other ones do. Like, I think they fit in just fine. What would make them more interesting to me? I can answer that, but I don't know about other people. So I think if there was rules for the human auxiliaries to be added in, as far as I know, that doesn't exist in any way right now, but I think that would be interesting to add human auxiliaries into the Tau stuff. I'm sure there's ways you can do it by proxying and using counts as stuff, but something more official I think could be neat. We got TubeSteak 2000. General question: I love how you decorated each gaming room at your studio. Who came up with the ideas for the themes, and how did you go about creating all the awesome props on the walls? It's so cool to see. Well, thanks. I'm glad you enjoy the decorations around here. That's one to talk to Dave about more than anything else. So there was when we were doing this place, Dave hired a crew of folks to work on it and all the decorations. So that's where Vito got his start with MiniWarGaming. Other than coming in every once in a while as a guest, Drewski, and then Grove, Mike Grove. So those 4 people would be the ones responsible for a lot of the design and fabrication. As far as like who did more of the design, who did more of the building, I got no idea. That wasn't part of the project. Like, I wasn't part of the project for that, so can't really speak to that one a whole lot. Yeah, glad you enjoy it. We got Shadeling. Josh, from your last talk, you mentioned a tactical game you really liked. You mentioned for a tactical game you really like Titanicus. Any other creators getting into Titanicus? Remember hearing Dave making all Warhound Force. Is it happening? If not, I think it would be cool to see a game of Warhounds versus big enemies, or a Huntmaster, Reaver, bigger Titan, with a bunch of Hounds against an all larger Titan force. Luca's got Titanicus. The stars haven't aligned. Matthew's really wanted to play for a while, but we haven't. Matthew and I are both the kind of people that our schedules change a lot based upon the needs of the company on a day-to-day basis, so we haven't found the time to sit down and play. Matthew is interested. As far as Dave's Force, I don't know if he's made any progress on it. I think he bought the stuff, and it might just be sitting. I don't know where he's at with that. I just added some more of my stuff to go get painted by Ben. So like I'm expanding out the Mortis forces a little bit, but I still got to figure out who's gonna, work on the knights and do some other stuff. So hopefully you see some Titanicus in the next couple months. I just can't make any promises. But yeah, I really do like that game. SSman0017. Josh, in your own words, what makes a person an expert to talk about a tabletop army? Is it how long they played, how long they collected it, how often they play the army, how many wins they have? You keep being you, man. Ooh. What makes a person an expert? Well, I think anybody can call themselves an expert for any reason. You can call anybody else an expert. I would consider somebody an expert who... I think for me, the most important part of somebody that I would want to listen to that's calling themselves an expert, or that I would say is an expert, is the overall passion for the army. Like, they got to be super interested into it. But then there's minimum requirements you have to hit for how long they've been playing, how long they've been collecting, how many wins they have, like how they do with them. But I think the most important factor is overall passion. Because you could have somebody that's been collecting forever that doesn't know what they're talking about at all, because they're like, yeah, I've been collecting for 15 years. They've been sitting on the shelf and I haven't paid attention to them. Like, that doesn't make them an expert. So I'd say overall passion is the biggest, most important thing for me. But minimum requirements for how long they played, how long they've been collecting and all that. I don't know what those requirements would be. That'd almost be a case-by-case basis, I think. But, yeah. It's tough, yeah. Because, I mean, it's the same with the, what makes somebody a professional wargamer. Like, if we were to hire somebody on brand new and, they came in and filmed one bat rap and then they quit, like, okay, technically they fit the criteria of being a professional wargamer, like they got paid to do it. But, like, are they really professional? I don't know, that's tough. So, yeah, I've never tried to quantify those minimums that I talked about, but I don't know. I don't know if that gives you the information you're looking for. Passion is the important part. Next up, we got Thesis. Josh, who did you pick for your victory at Sea Fleet? Oh boy, howdy, am I bad at that. I have picked the U.S., Japanese, and Germans. But I want to get the British, too. So the two largest fleets I have right now are the, the Japanese and U.S. forces I have. But I should have some Germans before too long. Luke and I are actually going to play around with that game after I'm done my sit and talk. But I'm very excited for that game because it checks the themes that I want and what I'm interested in right now. And pretty much all the time. All right, we got Draber Sneglin. Or Dr. Aber Sneglin. Are you a doctor? Hey Josh, love the content. Well, I'm glad you enjoy the content, because if you didn't, I guess I probably wouldn't be sitting here. Actually, now it makes me wonder, like, if universally as a community, everybody stopped liking my content right now, with how deeply entrenched I am here, like, how long would I be here for? If everybody at this moment right now is like, we no longer, like, none of us like you anymore. And I know some of you like to dislike me, so, like, those people are cut out too. Now they're just neutral. I wonder how long I still am here for. Ponder that. Do you think AOS Corn get a new battle tome soon? And I hope to see more battle reports with Corn AOS. I personally, for AOS, couldn't care less about the Corn. I think they're cool, like they fit the setting and all that, but like I don't want to play them. Play as them. Fine to play against them. I mean, like, I haven't seen any grumblings or rumors online about a new Corn battle tome. But also, even if there were, I probably wouldn't pick up on them, because... So, your fellow to talk to probably would be Luca. Because I know he had dabbled in Corn for a while. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you do get some more Corn. Or the other thing, obviously, is if we can get guests back in. Obviously, we're still going through all this COVID stuff in different ways, so consistent guests coming in is kind of problematic right now. So hopefully some Corn guests happen to show up for you and everybody else that loves Corn. We also have Orky. Hey, I was wondering why you have not been doing that many sit and talks lately. I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say that you've always are always fun and enjoyable to watch and listen. You are by far the best content creator at MiniWarGaming, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for taking the time to read and answer my questions, Steve. Got him. So this shows that I don't read these ahead of time. I don't know. I think with Steve, it was one of those ones. Steve works the most modified schedule out of everybody with working from home and doing certain stuff from home. And it was routinely difficult for Steve to find time to get this done on time. And it was stressing him out. And he's like, hey, look, with the stress related to trying to get it done on time, I think there were some concerns about how entertaining he felt he was being. He just wasn't in the right headspace to enjoy doing this. And I think to create enjoyable content, you have to enjoy doing it yourself for people to enjoy watching it. So, yeah, he just wasn't there. That's funny, though. I'm going to remember that. That's actually... So this is my level of humor. Good for you. I'm sorry about the sniffling. It's driving me nuts. It's been driving me nuts for a while. Thumbs up for the t-shirt after 10 seconds. Don't know what that means. I'm on YouTube now. I'd like to see a win-loss ratio of all Matt's Tyranny games. Love how honest these are, and he always discusses interesting things. Good. There's a little bit of talk about Scions. Do you think any chance of getting new units added to the army? Love to see a speeder-style vehicle added to the line. New utility flyer skimmer that could drop a weapons rack that lets them change special weapons on the fly. That'd be neat. But it'd be like, how would you change the miniatures? That does sound kind of cool. But yeah, I'd like to see, a smaller flyer type little variant for them other than the Valkyries, which are relatively large, like a little flyer skimmer thing that, transports 6. I think that would be super neat. I agree with you there. Why is 40K more popular than all the other war games? Advertising put in by GW, more money. To a degree. I mean, it's been around forever, so there's that. But yeah, overall, it's kind of a behemoth. Because it's been around forever and been pretty popular for quite a long time. Yeah, so wasn't a whole lot on YouTube for me. But it's always good to check. I don't like people to be left behind. Okay, now we go to the Facebook where I got mentioned that I needed some questions and there's 60 plus. So I'm going to do all of these, but some might be quicker than others. Okay, so, and Lisa, I'm never going to try to pronounce your last name. I was just about to do it too after saying that. I'm like, no. Bolt Action's obviously amazing. It is. I love Bolt Action. Are there any other Warlord games you want to dabble in? Seventh Sun Channel makes some pretty compelling Black Powder bat reps as an example. Okay, so, I think for Warlord, I would happily play any of their games because I like... They're all pretty interesting. There's some that are less interesting that I still want to try out. The ones I'm most interested right now, because I like being able to take everything and scale it back. 40K is such a skirmish scale, and Bolt Action's amazing, but it's still a 28mm war game. I want to scale it back even more, because the more maneuvering you get, the more interested I am. And then the greater variance in effective weapon ranges, I think, makes it super interesting. So, the things that I'm personally collecting right now from Warlord is Victory at Sea, and this is in addition to Bolt Action K-47. Victory at Seas, and the Napoleonic era one. I think it's Black Seas. It's the Age of Sail one. Getting fleets done there. I would also be very interested in playing the Napoleonic that just came out recently, and I want to say it's at 15 mil or smaller, but tons of miniatures on the board. That's interesting to me, because playing a horde in 40K is just kind of boring, but having multiple dozens and dozens and dozens of stands of miniatures with 10 tiny little soldiers on them, that sounds super cool because of the greater scale of the battle. It's better representing a battle as opposed to a skirmish. Off the top of my head, though, that's the stuff I'm most interested in. And then to flip the other way, Blood Red Skies, because it plays so quick and so fun. I'm having a lot of fun with that. Corey Bragg, Josh, should anyone who eats their ribs with a fork and knife be forced to suffer public ridicule in the town square? Okay. Ribs, I'm not like super into ribs. I don't hate ribs, don't love ribs, impartial to it. But it's the same thing with whiskey. Okay? So I'm a whiskey drinker. So should somebody who drinks a really nice whiskey on the rocks be ridiculed in public? No. They should not be. If you take the opportunity, if you have the opportunity to educate them, and this is the same with the ribs eating, that way. If you have the opportunity to educate them on why other people might like to enjoy it differently, because I drink everything neat, I would encourage them, or maybe a single drop of ice water into a nice scotch, if it's the right kind of scotch for them. If you have the opportunity to educate people on why don't you try it this way and see, I like that. Now, the ridicule does have its place, but that's amongst friends. So my buddies that will drink really nice whiskeys and then just drown them in ice and make them lose all of their character, and I'm like, why are you drinking nice stuff? Like if you want to drink whiskey that way, that's fine. Just drink the cheaper stuff. Don't do that to the nice stuff because it bothers me. So if you're my buddy, I will ridicule you. If you're some random person, enjoy it however you want to enjoy it. Couldn't care less. But yeah, there's a little bit of friendly jabs, but no, not public ridicule. Private ridicule. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully people get the actual tone of what I'm going for there, which is just trying to have a little bit of fun. Matthew Stockton, can we get Josh Needs Your Help t-shirts to raise funds for the Josh Foundation? Oh, the Josh Foundation. I think I'm beyond being helped. But yes, thank you for leaving questions. That's all I needed. But beyond that, I don't know if I can be fixed. We got Tom Lees. As a Custodies player, how do I get over the nightmares that I've been having of the railgun? It invades my dreams every night, taunting me with its nullification of invulnerability saves. So the thing that you have to remember is that it can't hurt you if you hurt it first. Just go kill it. Who cares? Yeah. It might negate invulnerable saves. It's only got a single shot, I'm pretty sure, though. Like, kill the custodian, then murder it for existing, because they're filthy Xenos that don't deserve to exist. Kill them. But yeah, it is kind of spooky. It's one of those things. Be aware of it, but don't be afraid of it. Lisa, whose last name I won't try to say. Do you think a 10th edition of 40k should be closer to the current edition of AOS or chart its own course? I'd say chart its own course. They've got kind of a schedule for it. 40k is moving more and more of a direction that I'm less inclined to play all the time. And I say that it's heading down a more organized, competitive feel, which is good for the game overall, but I'm not always in the mood for that. So a 10th edition of 40k, like, they might be able to implement a lot of stuff, but it also might move even further in that direction. So, like, I'm not super... I like 9th edition where it's at right now. I'm having fun with it. So I'm not like I'm really hurting for 10th because I'm having enough fun with 9th. And also I'm like, I don't love if they swing too far in that direction. AOS, I love where it's at right now. AOS is a lot of fun. I don't know why. So 40k I've played for so long. I've been playing since I was like 15, 16. And I'm like 34 now. I've spent a lot of time analyzing 40k and then have a greater sense of kind of what's going on. AOS I've done less so, and I think I enjoy the game more because of that. I like it. I don't know why I like it. I don't need to know why I like it right now. So I'm happy to go with the flow on both 40k and AOS. Dave Gargan, what are your thoughts on the new Custodies Codex? When will we see you playing them? The video went out the day that I'm filming this, so you probably have already seen me play them if you've been paying attention to the channel. Overall, I like it. A good chunk of my collection and some of my favorite stuff in my collection is Forge World stuff. And I'm assuming there'll be some kind of a little update that they put out just to make it make sense with katas and everything else. So I haven't touched my Forge World stuff. I'll have a better sense of what I think of the Codex when I see how it interacts with some of my favorite models. Overall, thumbs up though. Sebastian Bakai, do you think we will get a change to the leadership for our Night Lords in the new Codex whenever it shows up? I would like to see them play around with that mechanic and do some stuff with the leadership one. I think it's a neat interaction, so hopefully they find something clever. Because that's the one thing, is that there's a lot of clever rules coming out for 40k more and more. Like AOS obviously too, but I like some of the stuff they're doing with 40k. It's interesting and neat, and they're capturing my attention a bit more. So we'll see. I can say hopefully. My phone's going off, but it doesn't appear to be vitally important yet. Elisa, are you more of a Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, or The Rock kind of guy? Bret the Hitman Hart, like easy 100%. Like, not saying I'm not a fan of the other guys, but I didn't even have to think about that one. Tony Crawford, dating advice, LOL. Okay, where would you take a follower of each of the Dark Gods on the first date? Why dating advice? Oh yeah, because I had Erin make this post, and I think she said something about dating advice. Well, unfortunately, I can't help you with that. Because they're all filthy heretics, and I wouldn't want to associate myself with them. Also, that might be my answer, because I don't have a cleverer answer right now. And the sniffles have me a little short on sleep. So I might not be able to come up with a clever answer in a timely fashion. Yeah, that's all you're getting on that one. I'm sorry! Joshua A. Hatch, which is better for a game in the long run? Regular quarterly errata and updates and rebalances that can invalidate existing physical cards, books, etc. and require players to download, reprint, or digitally access changes, or an edition of a game that isn't changed, updated more frequently than every 2 years, at which point a new edition is released that attempts to fix, rebalance the game for another 2 years, but all the physical components will be current until the next full edition change. Okay. I think best overall would be one that there's the regularly done updates, but there's a living rulebook online. I will say, when it comes to some of the G-Dub stuff, I despise how many books you have to have and how quickly they become invalidated, because they're not cheap. I don't like that. It makes sense why they're doing that and why that's good for the game, but digital stuff. And it's one, like, I don't know. The companies that put out it's weird to say, the companies that sell miniatures and rules, but they also are like, here's just the rules to download if you want. Go play our game. I like that a little bit more, but it might just because who wouldn't like that more? But yeah, it is super annoying. I mean, we're in a privileged position that the company's getting all this stuff that we use, for the most part, not all of it. But yeah, like if I was a Games Workshop gamer and, you know, cool, I just bought a new codex, and like the day it comes out, they're already having to errata and change a bunch of stuff, and it goes through multiple iterations of that. Like, I could see me getting pretty annoyed with that. Both of those, and then the other one is like they just fix things every 2 years, and there's something that's busted. That can be fine for certain games as well, because I don't play in a tournament scene. So when you've got things like that are kind of busted, that don't get addressed, generally speaking, the community is pretty good at going like, hey, look, we're acknowledging this. Don't do it. Just don't be that guy. And if you want to be that guy, that's cool, but be aware you're being that guy, because I think it's very important when you're playing that you, again, sign the social contract with your opponent, that you're both, what you're both there trying to accomplish. And like, if you're there to be a jerk and he's there just to kind of try to have a good time with his toys, that doesn't jive. If I had to pick one or the other, I'd honestly say the every 2 years. Yeah, every 2 years, and let the community police itself if that's what it requires. But okay, when I did the last one with Phil, I can't remember how much of it made it onto camera, but Phil and I talked about this in depth. Like, I could do a whole 2-hour video on this alone, but it would be super dry and boring, and my thoughts wouldn't be collected or presented very well because I'd be by myself and kind of rambling and jumping all over the place. But like, that question, if you want, next time that I'm doing a sit and talk and it's announced I'm doing it with a guest, bring that up because I'd love to have that conversation with somebody and explore that. Jacob Pizzo. I don't know how to say it. If you could have any old aspect of 40K rules come back, what would it be, and what would you change it at all to be more modern? For me, pretty much perfect 40K or perfect Warhammer would be 7th edition Horse Heresy. Bam, love it. And so the only thing I would tweak on that, it's just how the pile-in works. Because it can be a little confusing for people that aren't experienced, and it's always a little clunky. So modern piling in restrictions, it's all I would really tweak on that, because I really like the Horse Heresy system. Yeah, that's all I want. I don't want the old 7th edition like formations and all that junk back. The codexes in that edition I did not like, and the overall feel, but the core rules were probably some of my favorite. Eric Hansen. How's the new announced Army of Renown for Space Marines, not just Raven Guard? I got no idea. Didn't even know there was one. So, not on my radar. I'm sorry. Caleb Patterson. When will MiniWarGaming host its next Apocalypse mega game? After COVID lets up, and it's let up for a while, and we're confident that we're not going to get put back on a lockdown again. If you had a third appendage, what would it be, and where would you put it? I would consider the beard to be the third already, so 4th appendage? Fair, 4th appendage. The public deserves answers on this. Isn't that just like, aren't my arms and legs appendages? Like how, like type of appendage? I'll give you my honest answer, and then maybe a more fun one. If I could be just like, bam, this is what I want. I'd want a leg that doesn't hurt all the time. Like, I busted my leg because I made the ill-informed attempt to try to play football, a game that I had no interest in back in high school, and immediately, within the first 2 weeks of being on the team, snapped my leg in half. Compound fracture, tib fib. Was in a cast for like 7 months. It sucks. That leg's like an inch shorter than the other side. It hurts all the time. I would like a fully functioning leg again. And like, if you look, I've got a decent like this sized scar on either side of my leg. Because again, the bones popped out, and there's actually like a couple inch dent in my leg on that one side, and it's gross. It hurts to touch it. My leg gets achy when the weather's bad. I'm already enough of a grumpy old man. Give me a new leg. Fix that leg. If I could chop that leg off and get a new leg, like, cool. Do that in a heartbeat. Now, the more fun answer is an extra appendage would be, I would like a little arm that comes out of my chest that is good at painting. That's somehow naturally good at painting. Because I am not a good painter, and I have not put the effort in, and I'm probably not willing to put the effort in to become a better painter. So, yeah. The real answer, give me a new leg. Because that's part of my cheery demeanor. It's that stupid leg hurting and me being miserable about it. But yeah, I want a little paint arm, like a little servo arm that paints. Probably save me a lot of money in the long run. No, because then like I got a lot of buddies that commission paint that I'm very happy to support, and I'm a big fan of their artwork, so I'm happy to support them. But yeah, having my own little painting arm would be nice. Nick Martin, do you plan on covering a Song of Ice and Fire miniature game? If not, why? We've owned stuff for that game, like a couple of us own armies, and we've had them for years. We just don't have the time to play it. And we're all like interested enough in the game, but not interested enough to make the time to play it. There's other stuff we all want to play more. So we might, like, if somebody randomly gets really interested, like if Steve were to come running into the room right now and be like, I just really want to play this game, I would probably get motivated to get my stuff tabletop ready and play. and vice versa. But we've all got different things that we're interested in the little bit of spare gaming time that we have. Neil Northeim. Have you ever heard of the old game called The Hunt? It's basically the Running Man with miniatures. The only rule we could ever find was you couldn't name your character after a friend's mom. I've never heard of this, but that sounds hilarious. Who put that out? Like, whose game was this? But that's entertaining. We got Tyson Levasseur. Why do you think so many people have a hard time staying positive in the Warhammer community? Seems to be much negativity so frequently. And then there's a reply here saying, because by time I've spent hard-earned money building a reasonable force up, new codex and rules and figures come out, so I give up on it. Yeah. Okay. The basic answer, I think, and again, you can get super deep into this, is that it is a premium hobby in sense of the amount of money and the amount of time and effort you have to put into it. And whenever you have something that people are putting a lot of time, money, and effort into, there is a greater sense of entitlement that comes along with it. And I think that is a well-founded entitlement for being able to enjoy that. And yeah, basically when things don't go your way, in the sense of, sorry, I'm trying to sound like the least gross as possible, but I'm doing bad at it. Yeah, I understand, somebody might spend so much time and effort to finally get their army ready for the tabletop, and then, the new book comes out, and it's like, it doesn't work that way anymore. So I think, a good example would be something I'm grumbly about right now is the whole flyer thing. I've put time, effort into my Scion force, and you're telling me I can't use my 3 Valkyries? Why? Because there's other codexes that the argument is that their flyers are too powerful and if they're spammed too much, it's too good. So you're going to limit this other. I understand why they did it, but also, I'm just going to choose to ignore them. But if I was playing in a community, if I didn't manage a tabletop gaming company and kind of had the capability to do what I want and feel justified in doing that, have people support me doing that, I'd be super frustrated if my friend group was like, yeah, sorry man, Match Play says you can't bring your Valkyries anymore. I know you spent time and money on them, but Games Workshop says no, because the Orc and Admech flyers are too good. And I know that's not the only reason, but that's the sentiment. So yeah, it's because it takes a lot of work and resources to be a Warhammer player. And when you get kind of screwed over, it sucks. The people, a new book comes out, and if you get the book the day it comes out, a new codex, and you rip into it and you start building an army, it's going to take you a couple months to get that army ready. And by then, I almost guarantee you there's an errata that's come out that's changed some fundamental stuff. And if some of the stuff has been changed, is the stuff that you were leaning into, yeah, I'd be frustrated too. To have it just because I can't take my, I can't take my painted Valkyrie or maybe even partially complete Valkyrie back to a Games Workshop store and say I already have 2 and you said I can't use number 3 anymore. Give me my money back. It doesn't work that way. So I think that's part of it. And then, I don't know, nerds are grumbly. There's always something to complain about. There's negativity in everything. And generally speaking, the vast majority of people and the vast talk when it comes to Warhammer is very positive. But the vocal minority can be very negative. So the feeling could be very negative overall. So I've rambled on this enough. But yeah, it's because it's easy to complain about stuff. And honestly, as much as I love them, Games Workshop is an easy company to complain about. It doesn't take you long to figure out. If you're grumbly and you want to find something to complain about, Games Workshop is for you, because you don't have to look far to find something to grumble about often. There's usually somebody that's upset about something, whether reasonable or not. John Henry III. Have you seen the Striking Scorpion YouTube channel? Does the train for the battle reports? I know it must take more time for them to set up, but the style they do is fantastic. It might be warranted in the final battle of a campaign or other special bat reps. Yeah, you'll see if you look at different mini wargaming stuff, you'll see different levels of effort put into tables. It's not uncommon when Matt is doing campaign, like he'll have new terrain built to fit his vision of what he wants. So yeah, Striking Scorpion does some cool stuff. Everybody's got their own style when they want to go really nice looking terrain, and yeah, does make sense. I don't know if we're gonna copy that style at all in any way, because we've got our own way we like of doing things, but there might be some inspiration found there for sure. We got Will Peck. I'm not sure where I can ask my question for the sit and talk this week, but I had an unusual one. Okay, well, you could ask it right here. Recently found myself collecting Chaos to make an Alpha Legion army, and was wondering if anyone in the crew has any experience playing or playing against them. I've played against them a couple times, but I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not going to name names, but if you go back and look at a certain Alpha Legion opponent of mine, I don't know about the quality of opponent here, so I don't know how much insight I can give you. What do you guys think about how they or any of the other Chaos Space Marine factions improved with the new Codex update? Now for the weird ask, I really want to use Alpharius and 40k. Do you think on a proper base, jump pack for the wings, and using the sword profile, could it be used as a Demon Prince for casual play? Thanks for all the content, and stay safe, y'all. Yeah, totally do that. I think that's not a weird question. I think that's super cool, and I think that'd be neat. And like, that's one of those things that that is a counts as model. That is one of my favorite things in the hobby. Like, if you were coming in to play against me here, like sorry, to answer the first part, I got no idea what they're doing with them. They're cool. I think all the legions will be somewhat viable. If you like the theme of them, you'll find a way to play them effectively. But like the Alpharius thing, like if you came in to MiniWarGaming to play against me, and you had that counts as Alpharius model, but you're like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to use them. Like, I would physically put you in a headlock and give you noogies until like you were like, yeah, fine, whatever, I'll play it. Like, that sounds super cool. Do it. And you will run into people that will grumble and not like that. And whatever, they're wrong. No, they're not wrong, but they're wrong. Do it. It sounds super cool. Send me pictures. I want to see it. Show me your Kansas Alpharius. I want to see it. Todd J. Antoine. Who do you think is more awesome, you or me? You got a cooler name, homeboy, but I don't know. I don't know if that's enough to say that I think you're more awesome. But you got a cooler name, I'll give you that. In all seriousness, well, how would you recommend someone get into bolt action? I watched those games from MiniWarGaming, really enjoy the way it plays, but I'm not sure about force orgs or if there's something similar to what when you deploy your forces. Any insight would be appreciated. Thanks very much and keep being awesome. Happy wargaming. Okay, super easy. And if you want to talk more about this, just email me, josh@miniwargaming.com, and I will teach you how to do this. You can get as complicated as you want, but you're going to find whatever force you want to use the generic reinforced platoon, and you can build pretty much whatever. Because all the rest of the lists are essentially theme lists that are fun to play, but for regular play, just do the generic reinforced platoon, and you can make a super thematic list out of that. It's just if you want to tweak it more, you use those themed lists that there's dozens and dozens of for each nation. And your starting place is honestly the 1,000 points starter sets. So if you look at a lot of the Warlord starter sets for bolt action, it is a full 1,000 point army in the box. They'll give you the army list. And the cool thing about it is that it might not be like the most competitive list, but it's also a pretty good list. Like, you can take that out of the box force, play it exactly how they have it listed as a 1,000 point force, and once you understand the basic mechanics of the game, you'll do just fine. And like, you'll want to add stuff, but you don't need to add anything. And as far as I know, like, I'll use Games Workshop because they're the big company here. I don't think you can do that with anything 40k related. Like, the start collectings could be good values. I don't know if they still are or not, but like, you can't play a proper good balanced game with anything that's one box from Games Workshop as far as like 40k or AOS. But with bolt action, yeah, totally. Take any nation starter set and double check it, because some of them actually, they give you a 1250 force, I think. But I think most of them are set at 1,000 points. And yeah, that's a good starting force. And it's not one of those like, it's a good starting force. No, like, if you never get anything else, you'll still be able to play that and have a good time. Email me about it though, josh@miniwargaming.com, and we'll chat a little bit more. But honestly, that's all you need. You get the Get that box, and I don't quote me on it, but I think they all have a little mini starter rulebook. And then I would buy the basic army book for whatever nation you went with. You're good. You don't need to buy extra minis. You only buy extra ones when you want different stuff. I can't say enough good things. It is probably, for a 28 millimeter skirmish style war game that's like, I'm talking like 40k AOS, bolt action, all the other ones out there. I think bolt action is the easiest to get into, and the products are the best setup for new players, but the advertising and the amount of available resources and how to get started are not as good as other companies that their products aren't as good to get started with. Which, I think I got more animated about that than anything else. Yeah, it's a really good game. You'll like it. You email me. Stephen Carmody, how is AdMech broken by any means, and what makes you think they're broken enough to warrant 3 nerfs and a points increase? That was part of the thing. Like, I play whatever I'm in the mood for, but like, AdMech is one of those ones where like, overall it was pretty good, but there's some stuff I'm like, what were you thinking? The enriched rounds, like, I used them, but I mean, like, I think during the review I talked about like, there's no way they're keeping this way. Like, we know, come on. Of course they've tweaked it. I think that's one of the codexes that, because I got no idea how they make codexes. I have a general sense, but it feels like something wasn't done fully there. It feels like that one needed some more tweaks before it actually hit the wild. Because, yeah, they went through a bunch of updates, it feels like. I don't know if other factions have. It might be ones I don't pay attention to as much. And points increases. But, yeah, that feels like they were close, but they weren't quite there with it. So, yeah. Because every time there's a new book that comes out, it's always, oh, this is so overpowered. And codex creep is still going to be a thing, but like usually the books come out and then a month or two later there's an FAQ of like, yeah, we're going to tweak them because we know that this stuff is unbalanced. And I understand the necessity of that, and that's another one of the things I'm happy to grumble about, knowing it makes sense that happens, but it's like, oh, surprise, surprise, after a couple months, the new broken stuff, they're gonna, tune down to a regular level. And that's where I've made the joke in the past where it's like, if you want to see the actual codex, just wait a little bit. Don't buy it as soon as it comes out. Give it a couple months and see what they actually bring the codex to, then build and collect. Don't do that, rush out and buy it as soon as it's brand new. But AdMech seems to have gotten, hit a couple extra times compared to some of the other books. So I can't tell you the exact specifics, but yeah, it feels like that book wasn't 100% up to snuff when it came out compared to some of the other ones. Josh Lowe, I saw this post and was like, I need help. All Joshes, we all need help. Anyways, how do you maintain a luxurious beard like that? Okay, so these are all different questions. Honestly, I beat the snot out of it. I'm not kind to it. So my regular morning routine is I'll get up. I wash it every couple days with a beard wash. I've got a beard oil that I use, and that's about it. And I blow dry the heck out of it every morning. It's terrible for it, but I don't know. I got a pretty tough beard, and it holds up to it fairly well. And then, you take it and get it trimmed every once in a while. And shaped up, which has been very tough during COVID. So, and I'm bad at doing it myself, and I don't trust non-professionals to do it. So, but yeah, pretty basic nowadays. Wash it every couple days with an actual beard wash. Don't use shampoo, it's not good for it. Don't use regular soap, it's not good for it. Use a specific beard wash. I'm not going to explain all the reasons why here. If you want to find out why, do a little bit more research, but it's because of stripping the oils out and some other stuff. And then, yeah, just oil it, and I would not recommend blow drying it, but I do every day because I got one of those super curly beards. So if I don't do that when I get out of the shower in the morning, if I just let it dry naturally, I get one of those I don't know if it's the right nations. If you look at some of the ancient Persians and some of the historical texts and that kind of stuff, where they got that really wavy beards, the wavy curly beards. Mine does that. I think it looks hilarious. It's awful. I'm never gonna go in public like that. But yeah, the blow dryer. But everybody else I talk to that has a beard, that as soon as I say that, they gasp. That's well, what are you thinking? But I don't know. It's what I've always done. You could just remove a faction entirely. Who would it be and why? The Necrons, easily. I hate them. I just despise Necrons. There's nothing. They're not busted. I just hate them. I hate playing against them. Yeah, Necrons, because I hate them. Pure spite. If you could add a faction, what would it be? What would they do? What would their gimmick be? Ooh. This changes on, like, you could ask me this an hour from now and I have a different question. So I'll give you the first thing that popped into my head because that's the easiest way to do it. I want to see what are they named? The stupid Hrud. They used to be Space Skaven. That they've been talked about in the lore a bunch and they've never gotten a thing. I want to see them. Give me weird aliens. They'd have probably a Gene Stealer cult vibe kind of feel to them, and you could probably do a Kansas army that would work well. But no. Give me another weird, freaky alien race. And I don't know how to properly say it. I think it's HRUD is how you spell that. Yeah, that's what I want. Ian Stewart, if I have too many minis for too many games, should I get into bolt action? Heck yeah, dude. I did it. I got too many minis for 2 different games, and I got into bolt action, and I love it. So, do that. Alec Ritchie, have you seen my TV remote? I can't find it. Yeah, dude, just stand up. It's there. Hate when people do that. Kevin Lehman, have you ever flat ironed your beer just to see how much longer it really is? No, because I already beat the heck out of it so bad. Because I blow dry it, and that's part of the how it hangs the way it does. And I know I could get it straighter and longer if I wanted to. But no. For 2 reasons. Number 1 reason, it would probably do a lot of damage to it. And number 2, I think it would be a good amount of work to do. I don't really flat iron. I have no idea, but I assume it would take some effort. And what if I liked it? Like, I already take too long to get ready in the mornings. So, yes. Jeremy Blankenship, what is on your wish list for the new Gargant Battle Tome? How about for the Overlords? Okay, so for the Overlords, I mean, my favorite part about the Overlords is the boats. So a couple different classes of boats would be cool. I would love a more dedicated, something in between a gun hauler and a frigate. Would be kind of neat. Oh no, I guess wish list. So something between those that has no transport capacity but more guns would be cool. But so actual wish list. Give me my 700-800 point ship. Give me the big boat. Give me the Ironclad Plus. I like boats. Give me the Bismarck of the Overlords. Give me the give me the Yamato of the Overlords. Give me the big boat. And I know you'd never be able to represent the actual big ones on the tabletop, but you know what I mean. As far as the scale that we play AOS at, give me that boat. And for the new Gargants, give me a new giant type, a new Mega Gargant, and I want one that is focused on being heavily armored. Give me a 2-up save Mega Gargant, and you figure out, Games Workshop, how you would balance that and what the points would be. But make one that, I want him clad head to toe in armor. That'd be cool. I can envision that miniature, and it sounds super cool to me. Mechanically, I have no idea, but I tend not to care about the mechanics if the minis are cool. Colin Mack will be playing more Kings of War or Dead Zone. I mean, hopefully. There's no current plans for it right now, but the Mantic systems I do enjoy. So hopefully we can find a way to make that work in the future. I know it's kind of like it's not a crutch, but it's kind of the go-to answer. COVID makes everything tough to plan. So hopefully, as we can get through all this stuff, we can start to see even more variety. I'm working on stuff like that. I'm not working on Kings of War or Dead Zone specifically right now. but I might be talking to somebody about some other game systems that we'll see if that anything comes of that. Rick Freeman, how much would it take to donate for you to have a beard versus hair matchup on the live stream, and who would you pick to have to shave their hair? Okay, so I don't have a dollar amount, but if there's many worthy causes out there, because it would have to be something charitable. Like, I don't need anything for me. If there was a charitable cause, and it would probably, if I'm being perfectly honest, and like, so a lot of this sit and talk right now, you're getting the things that immediately pop into my head. So don't take everything I'm saying as gospel of like, this is the definite answer. And if Josh had time to sit and think about this question for an hour, he would answer the same way. But I'm talking about the stuff that pops into my head. But if like somebody wandered in right now and said, you know what, we're doing a charitable thing for the local Humane Society, and this is the format we want to do, the beard versus hair matchup on live stream. Like, I would probably just be like, yep, I'm in. So I don't think it's so much the amount, like it'd have to be a worthy amount for that cause. But if somebody came in saying they want to do something charitable, and for, like I said, the thing that pops into my head immediately is the local Humane Society, I would probably just do it, and then, yeah, like, let's go. And as far as my opponent, the one that pops in my head first is Luca, because Luca's hair is more, like, it's precious to him. Like, I couldn't play, like, Steve's hair grows like crazy, so, like, whatever, who cares? Like, it wouldn't mean anything to him. And I know my beard grows quick, but it takes a while to get to this stage, and there's a grow out stage that really sucks. So it'd probably be against Luca, but the only thing with the only problem with Luca is that even though, I don't know, as far as battle reports, if I beat him more than he beats me, like, I don't know what the win-loss ratio would be, but Luca is a better gamer than me. He is better than me. So the only thing would be, like, I wouldn't want to lose. Like, I wouldn't have to be a guaranteed win, but, like, the concept of going up against somebody when there's something like that on the line, who I acknowledge is a better gamer than me, a more competent gamer than me, would make me a little bit anxious. So, I don't know, hopefully that gives you some weird insight into my head. Impending Duff. How's it going, buddy? If you guys aren't familiar with Impending Duff, pause the video I guess in a minute. Go check him out on Twitch. I'm not going to say much more than that, but I'm not much of a guy to like hang out and watch Twitch streams. But go check out Impending Duff on Twitch, and I think you'll, if you're into the wargaming stuff, I think you'll enjoy, because it's primarily painting related. And I'm not a painter, and I don't really typically enjoy this stuff, but I find Duff very entertaining on there. So go check him out on Twitch. So pause the video right now and go check out Impending Duff on Twitch. And, you know, catch him when he's live, obviously. We gotta get you up here too. I mean, like, obviously the COVID stuff. But yeah, I want you here doing painting classes, and we're gonna make that happen. I know you're probably eager to come do it as well, but even if you weren't, I would force you to. I'd find a way. And I think people will have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, we'll talk more about that. So can you assign a band to represent each of the 4 major chaos gods? Ugh. Okay, so this is one of those ones that too, like, you can sit and have a discussion forever. So I'm gonna give you like my knee-jerk kind of reactions to stuff. Okay, so, and again, like, there's probably better answers out there, but yeah, I'll give you what pops in my head. So we're gonna start with Korn. Okay, so Korn, Cannibal Corpse. That's the first thing that pops into my head. And I know, yeah, probably better answers out there, but yeah, number 1, Cannibal Corpse for Korn. Slanesh. When I think Slanesh, I think Motley Crue. That was probably a little self-explanatory as well. Nurgle. I'm thinking. I want to make sure I get the name right. Yeah, okay. So Nurgle, again, what pops into my head It's Crowbar, the band Crowbar. Like some sludge metal. Yeah. Because I know there's a jovialness to, like there's a happiness to Nurgle as well, but there's kind of some really heavy, dark undertones. So that's where, yeah, going Crowbar. And then Zinch. Band for Zinch. Okay. Honestly, probably some weird, like, modern progressive type, like, jazz stuff. That, like, I understand that there's a lot going on here, but it's not in my wheelhouse. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just really, really, really not for me. I don't get it. So there you go. Hopefully those are good answers. I don't know. Oh, yeah, yeah. So that's the knee-jerk reaction answers to that question. Jimmy White, any Age of Sigmar armies you really want to try that you haven't yet? The Nurgle Demons. And I just have not had the chance with everything going on right now. I'm very busy at work, but I'm also very busy outside of work with a lot of stuff. So I haven't had the chance to sit down and really read through and study up and make a list that I'm excited to play yet for the Nurgle Demons in AOS. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Jeffrey Misler, give us your best. I don't even know how to say that face. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of an old man. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound wholesome. So no. It's gonna mean something completely. Either see, here's the thing: is either I'm correct and it is something unwholesome, or it's something that is just completely and totally harmless, and I have no idea. But I'm showing you my age, I guess. Kyle Ewan, how much conversions and alternate models, assume they're well done, would it take to make you feel like it's not an accurate representation of an army? I don't think that would happen. Because, I mean, like, if I... It'd have to be some pretty oddball stuff. It'd have to be some pretty, like, I don't get it stuff. So the thing is, like, a lot of those conversions and alternate models, people are putting time and effort into finding and creating them. So usually they have a story of what's going on, of why they're using the models that they are. Like, if somebody went out and got a bunch of, I don't know. They would have to have just no reason. It have to be kind of like a weird hodgepodge of like, wait, why is that counting as one of those? And they go, oh, like I know it's a weird way to answer this question, but yeah, I don't think there's I don't think it's about the how many conversions and models it would be for it to not feel like an accurate representation. It would be the lack of explanation from the person playing it. Paul G. Bice. Yeah, I think that's how you say that. I play Orcs. She plays Sisters of Battle. How can we make our relationship work? I don't think you can. Sorry, man. Wow, his life. No, but it's actually if you and your significant other play games together, I think that's pretty cool. Again, I got no cleverness to this. Dorian Gray Clampett. How necessary are pants to wargaming? Do you guys plan to explore War Machine again or the Warcaster game? So whenever people ask, like, do you we don't plan very much here, especially when it comes to that sort of stuff. It's if like there's no plans, but if Matt woke up tomorrow or any of the other guys here woke up tomorrow and they're like, hey, I really want to try some War Machine, probably somebody else here would be like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. Like that's literally all it takes for some of this other stuff. Now, granted, I guess there would sometimes like we have to have the minis available and all that, but the process to start for us to cover stuff, that's all it takes, is one person really excited and another person willing to jump in, and that's not currently happening with War Machine or Warcaster, I think is the name of the other game. Not saying it won't. I've started to think about War Machine a little bit more, but not enough that I don't have the time and effort to put into it because there's other stuff I'm more excited for. Are pants? How necessary are pants to wargaming? No, homie. I've played plenty of games wearing shorts. There's shorts counting as pants. Like you call them short pants. Makes me think of King of the Hill. I'm such a mushmouth right now. Terry Bowman, if you and Dave were guardsmen, what chaos god would you both agree to follow? Dave and I have never agreed on anything, actually, ever. Kind of weird. Yeah, we've never agreed on anything. Ever. Like, even stuff that normally I would agree with. Like, if Dave makes a statement, and normally I would agree with it, I automatically stop agreeing with it. And he does the same thing with me. And I'm not joking when I say this, like 100%. Like, and there's no spitefulness, but like immediately, if Dave makes some sort of a statement, I can't help but just oppose it. And I do the same thing with Steve, but it's not the same. It's like with Dave, yeah, 100% no. No, I don't follow any chaos god. No, lame. The Emperor. That's who I'd follow. Chaos, yes, you don't worship, you don't follow chaos. It's a tool to use, not something you worship. Martin Richard Charlesworth, has your opinion on Necromunda changed, or do the lack of spires still put you off? Well, I think like it's not the lack of spires that put me off. It's if they put them into the game, I might actually start paying attention to it again. The initial release, I thought from Games Workshop just sucked. I mean, like, and like, there's no like ill will spite of like, oh, the initial release sucked, so I'm never gonna check it out. I've just never found anything that's drawn me back in to give it another try. Like, I'm not saying it's like, I think the initial release was bad and it sucked. I have no idea where the state of the game is right now. It's probably pretty good because generally speaking, Games Workshop does good stuff. But I've never been inspired to go check it out because there's other skirmishy kind of games I want to play. And honestly, like obviously Necromunda came out ages ago. If I really had the itch to play a skirmish game, especially after playing This Is Not a Test, I would just immediately play This Is Not a Test. Like, even if somebody, like, if there was two people that came to me at the exact same time, and one of them said, hey, Josh, Spires just came out for Necromunda, and the other person said, it said, Spires just came out for Necromunda, you want to go play? And the other person said, hey, you want to play This Is Not a Test? I probably would go with This Is Not a Test. I had a lot of fun with that. Necromunda might be better. I acknowledge it might be better, but it's matter of personal interest right now. But yeah, so it's not so much the lack of spires or anything else that I didn't get put off Necromunda. I got put onto a different path. That's all it is. But that initial release, I still think just sucked. Jake Andrews, would you rather play an immaculately painted army that is straight off the build sheet instructions or a tabletop painted army that every model is converted from multiple kits? 100% converted. 100% converted. There's no question to that. I would be so much more interested in that. There might be certain factions, but no, doesn't even matter. Factions doesn't matter. The converted army, yeah. And the same if somebody was like, hey, you have to get a new army, and you get to pick one of these two, converted army, without even seeing what factions they are, what is the included with the army. If somebody was like, yeah, behind door number 1 is a immaculately painted, straight off the build sheet instruction army, and behind door number 2 is a tabletop painted that every model is converted from multiple kits. Yeah, easy, converted. Warner McQueen, what is the one beard care product that you just keep coming back to? I don't know if there is one, because they kind of bounce around all over the place. I do really like the Northern Beard Company products, though. Like, as far as a brand, that's probably the brand I like the most. So that. Josh Ted, new railgun and pulse blast cannon mistakes, question mark? No, because, I mean, like, there's always going to be Okay, sorry. I want to check this here now, actually. There's always going to be... Stop. Things that are kind of over the top. Are they mistakes? No, I don't think they're mistakes. Are they going to need to get toned down a little bit upon release? Maybe. I'm worried about them, but there's always ways to get around whatever rules they come out with. They seem a bit heavy-handed. They seem a bit much, but I don't necessarily know if it's going to be that problematic. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to... Like, obviously, I haven't seen the Tau stuff, but, like, I want to take a crack at them. And, like, it'd probably be with my Knights or my Custodes. And both of those armies, I think, have something to worry about with them. But I'm looking at the stats of them, like, that they've shown off now, and, like, that's spooky, but you gotta adapt. You'll be fine. Matthew G. Dunlap. Josh, what is best in life? Ha! I can't do an Arnold impersonation, especially if I'm stuffed up. But to crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of the women. I think that's right. I think I got it right. Did I get it right? Eliab Long. Which mod tribe has best kissers and why? The Underguts, because it's the one that pops into my head. I'm sticking with the theme of saying the first thing that pops into my head, which is usually super dangerous for me because I'm kind of an idiot. But yeah, Underguts, because it's the, I don't know. It's just, they just are. Yeah. What is the meaning of life? Nicholas McKay? I got no idea, dude. I'm just here to play with toys. Everything that's popping into my head is immediately not safe for work to say. It's just hilarious, dumb little things. What is the meaning of life? I don't know. For me, the whole thing is I don't care. I'm just gonna kind of do me and go through life, doing what I feel like doing. I'm at that. I think I've hit that point in my life where I've stopped trying to make sense of everything, and I'm just gonna go with the flow and enjoy the journey for a while. I've worked very hard in my personal life to be able to get to this point that I'm like, you know what? I just kind of do what I feel like doing right now. Not 100% within reason. You stay within reason, but... So, the meaning of life? I don't know. I'm at the point in my life I don't care. Doesn't matter. Cameron McDowell. What do you need help with? Are you okay? You know what? I mostly needed help with questions. So I am now okay. But back home, I got a wraparound deck that's been there since I purchased the house. It's in pretty bad shape. I need to get it torn out. So if you wouldn't mind hopping in the truck, coming down and helping me, rip that down and bring it to the dump, I'd appreciate it. Thanks, bud. Petrie Mackey. When will we see more Blood Bowl? The next time Matthew goes on vacation and he's not here. He can't try to force us to let him play. No, I don't know what the next time is. I'd love to start getting on the live stream. Soon, hopefully. There's some plans for some live stream stuff coming up, but I want to get that on the live stream. And other than that, if there's people that come in that want to play Blood Bowl, Luca's a very competent Blood Bowl player. So if there's people that want to come in and throw down, message me, because I do all the bookings. But if you want to put in a game request, josh@miniwargaming.com, and just say, hey, I want to play Blood Bowl. And then I'll reply back with a standardized email that has a bunch of questions you got to answer. And then from there, yeah. So you'll see Blood Bowl probably soonest when a couple Blood Bowl players want to come in and I can fit them into the schedule to play against Luca. Because he very much enjoys playing as well. John McDonald, any chance you guys would consider something slightly off-brand, like streaming a monthly D&D session using the old Warhammer 40k rule supplement, homebrew game in a Warhammer 40k format? Yeah, but again, like we have limited resources to what we're capable of doing, and maybe if the live stream stuff became popular enough that it made sense to start some extra stuff other than just 40k, because we still got to figure out how to do 40k better. Because at the end of the day, we're a company. We need to make money to keep the lights on, to keep the guys fed. Like this is our 9 to 5 job. So, I mean, considering it, yeah, it'd be cool, it'd be fun, but not until we have the time to do that and we can figure out how to make it make sense. Because like everything we do, like it doesn't have to. The things that we're doing, like obviously because we want to do them, we're passionate about them. But at the end of the day, part of my job is making sure that they're making at least a little bit of money, or at least they're not costing the company a ton of money. And the amount of resources it takes to prep like a D&D campaign, and then you have to have multiple people in there playing, like that, it's a lot of manpower hours to do that kind of stuff. So how do I, as a person that has some responsibility for making sure that the company has revenue coming in, how do I justify that? I currently don't have an answer for that, so that's why it's not happening. But we'll make it to a point that we're like, yeah, you know what? It's time for everybody, like if everybody was like super excited to do it, and they're like, yeah, we just want to do this, and we know that it probably wouldn't be great from the company side of things, but we just want to do it. Maybe I could make that work and fit that in somewhere. Not where we're at right now. John Antonacci, how do you motivate people in your play group to keep building and painting when they lose their motivation? Well, I mean, here, so my play group is different than your play group. So my answer would be, when people have lost their motivation to build and paint, those people are the people that are the commission painters that I've hired to work on miniatures. I stopped paying them. So that's the easy answer there. But no, so you got to find a way to get people interested and get back into it. So I'd say like the basic answer there would be to find a way to do some group painting sessions, something like that. Find a way to hang out, and like depending on what your group likes to do, like if you're like, yeah, you know what, boys, like I want to hang out, want to get working on this stuff, so the beer and the pizza for this hangout session are on me, let's do it. Hopefully that, that starts to become a regular thing, and then one of the other guys in the group will, do the same sort of thing, and you keep that rolling. Find a way, get everybody together and motivate each other by being around each other, and I think that for me would be the way to do it. Peter Ivey, so as a brand that stands out in the minds of most gamers in the hobby, what would you say to entrepreneurs trying to carve a niche for themselves in the hobby? What have been the key drivers for the success of MiniWarGaming? Don't try to be something you're not. Present yourself and your love of the hobby in a honest fashion, and then try to find a way to do that in an honest fashion, and then once you have that figured out, then try to find a way to get that out to the largest audience possible, and hopefully they enjoy your content and support you. Don't try to be something you're not. It's not going to work. Just be honest with yourself, and ultimately for me, I make the type of content in the tone and style that I enjoy consuming, so I understand it, and luckily enough, there's enough people out there, and I work for a company that we're able to make this work, and I can make a living out of it. I don't think that would necessarily be the truth for everybody else out there, but that's the best advice I can give you. Ben Ruffin, do you think invuln saves are as valuable as they used to be with all the ignoring rules coming out recently? Yeah, nope. I don't think they're as big of a deal. They've toned them back a little bit. But as soon as they started adding mortal wounds in, like invulns became less and less important. And as they add more mechanics to bypass the invuln save, it becomes less and less important, which is part of the reason why I like the way they do it in 30k. Invulns are kind of a big deal. There's no mortal wounds. There's very few mechanics that interact with invuln saves in that game, which I like more. So yeah, invuln saves, they're important, but they're not that big of a deal. It's the same 2 wounds. Having 2 wounds or doing 2 damage, because there's so many ways to mitigate that. You know what I mean? There's Like, having 2 wounds isn't a big deal because there's so many 2 damage weapons. But having 2 damage weapons isn't that big of a deal because there's so many things that are -1 damage now. I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah, they're not as valuable as they used to be. How are you feeling about the new Powerhouse Tau? They're not even out yet. Couldn't care less. Yeah, you can do a bunch of stuff. You're still smelly fish people. I'll still beat you up, you little blue alien. I don't care. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super anxious about them one way or another, but I haven't been super anxious about any factions. There might be some. The only one that I don't like, it's the Necrons. And they're not even that good. They're good. In the hands of a good player, they're really good. But so is everything else. So yeah, not worried about them. How are you the new Powerhouse? They're not even out yet. Mega Steve. Christopher Como, what are your thoughts on the rumor of GW getting rid of sub-faction souping? Can't have a guard force consisting of Cadians and Mordians. You would have to pick one. Good. As far as a rules thing, good. I like that. I think it'll be a cleaner, better game overall. And if you're the type of person who has a themed force, like there's nothing saying you can't use Cadian and Mordian miniatures together. Pick one rule set that makes sense for them. You know what I mean? Like, who is leading the army? And yes, the Cadians have their style of fighting, the Mordians have their style, but who is in charge, telling them to fight in a certain way? And that's, you can still use the minis. That's A-okay. That's a cool themed force. But the people where, like, they're like, yeah, these miniatures that are pretty much the exact same, like, well, when I look at somebody's army and, Guard, for example, it's like, wait, which Leman Russ is the Cadian one, which one's the Mordian one? I know they're not doing that, but I'm using this example. Super annoying. So yeah, from a rules perspective, good. From a theme perspective, you can still paint your stuff however you want, and you just declare what rule set you're using when you go to play it. I'm good with this. Terry Bowman, you ever hated a model so much you would rather use an M80 on it? Yeah, anything Necron. And specifically Destroyers. I still hate Necron Destroyers. I don't know if they're any good. Hate them. I get mad. Like, that's the thing, is like, as soon as I see Necron Destroyers on the board, I'm like, I'm angry. Like, I don't care. I'm not being nice anymore. I'm gonna be as unpleasant as possible. And like, if you've ever been around me, like, I'm gonna be pretty unpleasant. Without trying to be. Caleb Patterson, dating advice. How many dates before you tell the other person you play Warhammer and try to explain your plastic toy addiction? Okay. I might actually be able to answer this because I had something popped in my head. It depends. Like, is this a person, like, are you dating for the purpose of trying to find the person that you're gonna, spend years and years and years with? Or are you just kind of having fun dating and, like, just meeting new people and getting out in the world? So if you're trying to find your partner for the foreseeable future, I would say, you know what? Bring it up right away. It's going to come up at one point or another. If you have a good way to bring it up, like, if you can't figure out how to bring it up, maybe wait a little while and have it come up more naturally. But, like, if you are capable of bringing it up right away and getting that out of the way, just do it right away. And if that person goes, nah, not for me, cool. You didn't waste each other's time. Go find somebody else. But if you're dating for the purposes of just getting out there and meeting new people, having some fun, don't bring it up. Let it come up when it comes up. If it never comes up with somebody that you're only going to date for a couple weeks before you move on anyways, because that's what you're both looking for, then who cares? It doesn't need to come up. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. James Wilding, well, my colleague of Corn here, Mr. Buttthirster, has been giving... Oh no. That's awful. Well, that's definitely not suitable for work. That's funny, though. That's funny. Paul McFarland, how much wah could a warlord, wah, if a warlord could wah. I can do it better when I'm not dying, when I can breathe properly. I don't know. I think a warlord could wah, lots of wah, if a warlord could wah. Oh, that was weird. That hurt my head to say. Tina Burnett, Josh, when you're not at the MiniWarGaming office or leading the Craignos meta plastic crack lifestyle, do you and your wife share any hobbies in common? I can say, okay, so in all honesty, I don't think so, no. We don't have any of the same hobbies. We have like none of the same interests. We both like our dog. That's not a hobby though. Yeah, there's like, the weird thing is that there is hardly any crossover with any of our interests. Like when my wife shares with me details of the hobbies she enjoys, like I can listen to her talk about the stuff that, you know, the TV shows she's watching, the hobbies she's taking part in, and all that. I can engage in that conversation and be interested in engaging in that way forever. And she's the same way with my stuff. But there's no cross-pollination of interest there whatsoever, which is hilarious because we've talked about this on many occasions. Yeah, nothing. I can't think of a single, and I'm not joking when I say that, I can't think of a single common interest or hobby. Which, from what I've understood over the years, is not common with people. But at this point, we've been together for like 17, 18 years, like 18 years now. So it's obviously that's okay. That works. But yeah, I have no interest in getting into her hobby. Like, I like learning about the stuff that she's interested in, and that's good enough. Like, I don't have to take part, but I'm interested in learning about it. And she's interested in learning about the stuff that I'm interested in without actually going any further than just learning so she could be more part of the conversation and we can interact more and talk about it. But it doesn't mean she's actually interested in the hobby. She's interested in learning about the hobby so she can talk to me about my hobby, and then vice versa. Daniel Paniagua. How many lions would it take to kill a Custodes? It just wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen. Some weedy little lion. It's a custodian. It just wouldn't happen. No. An infinite amount couldn't do it. That's the answer I'm giving. And there we go. So that is all the questions I currently have in front of me for Sit and Talk. I think I did a good job of getting through them all. Took longer than it should have, but that's okay, because I'm here for you people. Hopefully you were at least somewhat entertained. Remember that next week is going to be Luca, so summon him to the comment section with Luca, or however else you enjoy summoning your Luca. Yeah, and of course, big thanks to everybody that leaves questions, because if you don't leave questions, the show doesn't happen. As always, I apologize for having this take so long to finally come out. But, well, if you've been watching me long enough, you kind of know this is what you're getting into right now. So I'll try to do better, and I actually will. I just probably won't. But thanks for tuning in. Keep being awesome, and as always, happy wargaming.